Okay, how to finish in a cookie cutter or any irregular shape. You will hear a slight buzz in the background. I have my studio little foot warmer heater on and some wind blowing, and we now are finally getting snow. It rained through the night, and now we're getting a real on Colorado winter snowstorm, which is nice to see because we haven't really had a lot in February. It was a little weird how green and grass and weird February was. But so video number 1, well, I guess technically video number 2 was how to cut and prep to get this felt shape that fits your cookie cutter using tissue paper and tape. And go watch that if you're like, where did that come from? You make this shape. And then video number 1 was how to find and source your cookie cutters and color chip picking. So this one is going to be how to attach, because we attach the bunnies to felt, stitch around the edge, and then you'll see that the flower work is done on top of the cross stitch. So what you need is whatever colors are on the edge of your bunny available. So my edges were the green, the tail, which is white, the darker brown, which was charcoal Weeks Dye Works, the lighter brown, which for this bunny was Flatfish Weeks Dye Works, and then the creamy, which is there. And then you'll need black again to finish off your black highlights. So, but what we're going to do first is we need to anchor this to the cross stitch. So how we do that, flip your bunny over, and the amount of dog hair that I stitch into my cross stitch is kind of scary. Is you're going to take your bunny and we're going to find the happiest medium, meaning, like maybe, these are standard, but they've been used, they've been bent, they've been loved, they've maybe been smashed in a drawer. They're 50, 60, 70-year-old cookie cutters. So, they might not be exact to the one that I used as a guide to create this. I should have said, I'll have to say this in a previous video. This does take a little tweaking. Is that an appropriate word today? My daughters are like, Mom, don't use that word anymore. I'm like, well, what do you mean don't use? I mean like, adjusting that you'll still need to do. But the first step is to anchor. So there's some critical points. Is the back. I should get my glasses off so I can tell you. So you want the back right. So see how you can just see a little bit of brown across there? That's good. You want to make sure that both the tail is hidden, like you can't see any of the tail. See how you see a little bit of this foot? So maybe angle up a little bit. You want to make sure that most of the ears are where they need to be. And if you'll see here, there's quite a bit of this sticking through on this one. That's okay. I mean, you can fold some stuff over if you need to fold it over. Like maybe some of your stitches won't work. I would say more critical is that the nose is pretty much where you want it, which this to me looks like it's pretty much where I want it. But once we anchor it, you'll be able to slightly move it around too. So it's not like once you anchor it, you're committed for life. Okay, we're going to anchor in the center. And I just showed you all that, and I should have told you to put some thread on before you do all that. So forget all that. Pick it up. Get your needle ready with whatever brown main brown color you use, because we're going to anchor the center first. I am still recording, and I'm still centered. The light's kind of changing in here because the snowstorm is like, it's like a whiteout outside, so it's a little odd looking. If I can thread my needle. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is just go, see, the reason I do two layers is I'm going through one layer. I'm not going through the other layer. And you know, a knot is just somehow the thread pulling against itself, you know, basically. All right, but this is the part that's the hardest for me to remember. So now let's go back to our happy medium. Make sure that this is right. Make sure that, you know, the tail is covered. Make sure that the ears are covered. And mostly more the nose than this part is probably the least concerning. Make sure that the paw is mostly covered, the two paws, you know, and again, we'll adjust a little. We're going to adjust a little bit all through this. All right. So there is my happy medium on this particular cookie cutter. So I'm going to make sure that everything is spread out. There's no wrinkle. I'm pressing down with my one hand. I'm going to pick up and pinch it all together, and then I'm just sticking my needle through. And I'm coming through, and I'm going to go back down and make just what I would call a micro stitch. Pull it through. Make sure it's tight, and then give it a couple whip stitches, or, you know, however you want to knot it, finish it off, and then take that needle through your two layers of wool, and then we're going to cut it off. So what I have done is I have anchored this. You know, I can pivot it, just like on Friends, you know, with Ross. Ross, pivot. Okay, and then I can really see how it's going. Now, remember that fabric does slightly move. So we're going for the happy medium. Okay, so the back side is right. I would say the most important part is this ear down to here. You want pretty well in alignment. This ear we can move a little bit. The nose, just the tip of the nose, the black of the nose is important. This isn't as important. And then again, we can slightly move the paw. I would say the paws, you're just going for, like I said, a happy medium. Now we're going to do it again. See, and I did all that, and I did an anchor. I tell you what. So it's still brown, like right here. So do this part first. Okay, now check your points. Tail's mostly covered. Happy medium between the paws. That is good. That's good. Tilt a little bit that direction down. Okay, press it down. Make sure it's nice and flat. Pinch it, pick it up. Stick it through. And do another micro stitch. And then stitch it off. And then knot it off. Or whatever term you like to use. One thing you'll notice is I am using a very large needle. This is the needle I stitch with. I will do a why I like my tools video later, but let me just quickly say that this I like for multiple reasons, but mainly because it's longer. I have more to hold on to. Sometimes I'm even using this. And it doesn't bulge out at the end. The eye is the same width as the rest of it. It's very sharp. And definitely for this finishing, it's called a milliner's needle. It is used in the Japanese darning. There is the info. Shishuko Habamari. This is my preferred needle. The only needle I use. Okay, so we have that one. And then we're going to do one on this back side. So you still can pivot a little bit. You're not, you haven't lost your ability to pivot. So now make sure that this is all right up against, remember those are the X's when we did our pattern that we always go from. This is the point we're always going to go from instead of moving that point around. Okay, make sure that that tail is mostly covered. There's a kind of a happy medium between the paws. The nose, point of the nose is covered. Okay, and I did it again. Oh my gosh, I tell you. You were probably saying, you didn't anchor your thread. Anchor your thread. Okay, now try it. Now do it. Okay, so that's good. That's good. That's the best we can do. The tail is mostly covered. That nose is covered. Okay, press it down, pick it up, poke it through, and do an anchor stitch. Okay. Now, you never want to do an anchor stitch more than a 1/2 inch from the edge, because then you're going to have a hard time folding over this. So we could do one down here, which is still hitting brown. We probably want to do one down here, which will hit brown. And then we probably want to do one like here. I'm actually going to remember to anchor my thread this time. Okay, so now I can't pivot as much anymore. So now but I still can slightly move that cross stitch fabric, slightly. If I do it too much, it's going to buckle. I just hit inside of, okay, so we have this one that is still, more than a 1/2 inch. We have this one, which is still like a 1/2 inch away from the edge. Okay, got that one. The head is still we can still move the head. I want to get kind of a happy medium between this side and this side of the paw. Some of that paw might be folded over, as I almost did not anchor. Oh, now I'm using 4 threads. Oh, come on. There you go. Let's try that again. So I can still kind of move this a tad, but I want to be careful, because if I do too much, it'll buckle. And yeah, like right now you're going, look at all of that extra that we did. Well, yeah, I guess on this cookie cutter we didn't need that much. So some of that might be going underneath. Anchor. Oh my gosh. Anchor. All right. Make sure that the head's right, the nose is good. Poke through. Take my glasses off. Do a micro stitch. And lock it off. All right, and then the last one is we want to kind of do one up here. So make sure my nose is workable, and then this ear, this side of this ear lines up. As I didn't do an anchor, I didn't lock it. And I don't want to go a 1/2 inch from any edge. So that's going to probably be right there. What did I hit? Oh, look at that. I just hit a little bit of brown. Oh, you know what I don't? So, okay. So if you look at this from this side, I am not anywhere near an edge. Turned it over, and for a second I was like, oh no, I'm close to an edge. But I remembered, if you feel, the felt is going to be here. This is going to be blue here. So we're still okay. We're still giving our, so there's the felt right there. So we still are fine on our edges. So we can anchor there. For a second there, I forgot what I was doing. Okay. And then finish off. All right, so now we're anchored, and you can feel like the blue, there's the edge there. There's the edge there. There's going to be some blue here on this one. There's going to be some blue down here. Now, if you look at my previous one, I guess it kind of does the same thing. So see, on this one, there was some blue there, blue there, blue there, you know, and then some blue here. And then around here, we were close in. So it just depends on the cookie cutter. So then the next thing you're going to do is you need to, we're going to fold over. So see, like the back here, how easy it is to fold over, you know, the brown, because we have that row of stitches. It gives us something to stitch onto and fold over. We don't have anything where it's blue. So the next thing we need to do is to do some back stitching with the blue. So what I need to do is I need to go find a blue that's very close to this blue. So just a second. So I'm ready to go to my stitchy spot. I have tacked on the wool backing, and I have gotten all the colors that I will need to deal with to go around the edge. I have my very good pair of small snippy scissors. This is the closest I have in Cosmo or Weeks Dye Works for this, and you might be like, oh my gosh, it's not the same color. I think it's going to be fine. One trick about contrast, if you look at something and squint, like kind of squeeze your eyes and then squint at a color, that's when you can tell contrast, is by squinting. And actually the contrast of those aren't bad, so I think it'll be fine. Plus I live in the middle of nowhere and it's all I got, so this is what we're using. But we'll need to come in and do some back stitching to define these areas where the edge of the wool is on the background and doesn't have a stitch. So that's why we need this. Very long needle. Like I said, the Japanese darning needles is what I like. And my sample This is my stitchy tin that has just my things in it. So I'm going to throw all this in there, throw that in there, throw that in there, throw that in there. It's not bad to have your cookie cutter with you so you can kind of test and see how you're working. And I'm going to pause this, move to my stitchy spot, move my armature that I put my phone on to my stitchy spot. Probably get a little bit of lunch. I'm kind of getting hungry. It stopped snowing. I wonder if it's going to start again. And then we will do this. I forget what video this is now. I will show you how to back stitch the edge and then get to stitching around that wool.